All right, we'll call this meeting to order. 6:31. This meeting and all meetings of this council are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the press in accordance with Wisconsin statute, so citizenry may be aware of the time, the place, and the agenda of this meeting. We'll have a roll call.
Shani Appleby.
Here.
Bruce Brunner.
Here.
Johanna Edwards.
Here.
Nick Gunderson.
Here.
Keith Najowski.
Here.
Scott Rasmussen.
Here.
All present.
Okay. Before Johanna sits down, then we'll have her lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Perfect time. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, we'll move to number 3, the approval of the agenda.
One quick item I wanted to throw in there, we do have Attorney Kelney I'm going to connect with via phone for the first closed session. And in the interest of having his schedule line up, he's going to hook up on the phone, and we're looking at 7 o'clock. If we could run the meeting till 7 on the agenda, then at whatever point we're at, we go to the closed session if that's agreeable to you guys. It shouldn't be too long, then we will come back in open session for the remainder of the meeting. If that's okay as part of the agenda. Okay.
Patrick, I want to question number 1 under finance.
Yes. We'll get to
Is
that.
that something?
We're gonna be a recommendation to hold that one, but when we get there, we'll. Yep.
So I need a motion then to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next, we need a motion then to approve the minutes from our regular council meeting on February 16th, 2015.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the regular council meeting minutes from February 16th, 2015. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Citizens appearance, Mr. Zaboy.
Thank you. I tried this in black and white, it didn't work too well, so I'll pass this along in color. Just take a look at it, and if anybody needs it, I have some black and white copies. This is a typical early morning before the library opens up. These are the books that are going to be going out from Weyauwega. And if you can imagine, that's each day, that's the pile that we go out, and then you should see the pile that comes in. It's that big, if not bigger. So where normally when the doors open up at 9:30, you think, okay, the library's open here, but actually it's open from about 8:30 on, because it takes a good hour to get through all of that, to get that taken care of. I did ask at the meeting today whether we should get the guy from OWLS here to have him explain a little bit about where we stand in the OWLS system, but I found out he's already quit his job, so I guess we're not going to get him here. At this point, we are still sending out more material than we're getting in, which to me is a feather in our cap, because it tells us that the gals upstairs in the library and the ordering and everything are staying on top of what's being asked for throughout the area. And we're picking up more and more outside requests for coming in and getting some of that mailing taken care of. So I feel very, very pleased with who we have working for us up there, and super impressed with the job that they're doing. And the only other thing of importance right now, we did make a decision. We're going to go with Wesley's Heating for 2 new furnaces. We had 3 bids on it. They were on the lower end of it with a guarantee for heat exchanger and for everything for 5 years, which is more than what I consider a norm for the way it is setting up, and we're pretty well set. We have a couple of little details that the library will take care of, and then we'll place the order so we get on their list for this spring once the heating season is done and get those furnaces in and be ready to go. We are then going to talk with them as well to see whether or not we're going to be exchanging the air conditioners. But I want to address the water problems and everything else with them and how that's going to get hooked up, because there needs to be some change there, because we can't continue worrying about that. And if you recall, I said that they went through the wall there and didn't really insulate, and so when the stuff came with water, it just ran right in. So hopefully we can eliminate that. It is not at this point an emergency, but we're going to be ready. And right now I can honestly say, and Pat knows what I'm going to say here, we're not coming to you for any money because we're okay from where we're at and we have the money set aside for it. And if we do go with the air conditioners, we're okay there also. So those are two major things, and the one is already being progressed, and then the other one we'll address later on this summer. Any questions from you? If not, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Sounds like the library's in good hands, Frank.
Right now, I definitely feel we have the right employees up there.
Okay, we'll move on to committee reports. Finance Committee?
Thank you. On behalf of the Finance Committee, I make a motion authorizing interim financing for the City Hall project.
That was the recommendation from the Finance Committee. We had John Cameron from Ellers, who had come to Public Works and to Finance, and he was at Public Works to talk about the wastewater treatment plant project and how we're looking at when the bills would come in on construction, what your needs would be for interim financing. With the treatment plant, we're going to be getting the funding on the back end of the project, so it'll already be built. So the interim financing need would be to pay our bills as we go. Because we also have the City Hall project out there, they had also talked about how would you pay for the City Hall project if that goes forward. The thought at the Finance Committee, after speaking with Ellers, was that it would be a simple recommendation just to authorize interim financing that would say if and when we go with the project, at some point we would want the interim financing. What we didn't have at the Finance Committee was the information that the amount of money that you borrow on an interim basis determines how much money you borrow on the back end when you take out your full financing. And at this point, it's probably a very good idea to hold on this because we don't have that amount identified yet. The reason we don't have it identified is because, as you all know, we are bidding out the project. The bids are scheduled to be open April 14th on the construction side of it. Some of the variables that are out there are obviously what are the construction costs going to be. We've got estimates, we don't have the actual bids. Technology security upgrades, that's going to be something we take up after the construction bids are out. Depending on where the budget may come in or where, what the costs are, you may do more or less of the technology upgrades. The other piece that's out there is that we haven't really determined how much, if any, the city would be paying down in cash on the project. And so because you have those variables, and because to do the interim financing you need to identify an amount, the recommendation would be to hold that for now, probably for a month. Any questions on that?
Do we need a motion to hold it?
If you could take a motion on that, yeah. Maybe it leaves a trail on what you did. It's on your agenda. I knew we were gonna ask to hold it. I talked to Scott about it last week, being the chair of finance, and because that's the committee recommendation, it shows up on your agenda, and then we can act on it and dispense of it or hold it, essentially.
So then would it be appropriate to me to withdraw
Yes.
my motion at this time? And we will hold that for future discussion at a later date.
Yeah. Do you want to make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to withdraw my previous made motion.
You could just do that. Yep. And then if you want to make a motion to hold it, you can do that.
I will include that to hold that topic for
Okay.
motion at a later date.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any other comments or concerns? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
On behalf of the Finance Committee, I make a motion to reject the accessory reevaluation quotes.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to reject the assessor's reevaluation quotes. Any questions, comments?
The big comment would be that we had solicited quotes for a full revaluation, which ranged from $25,000 to $35,000. In the meantime, in the state budget, they have a proposal to move that outside of the scope of a city and municipal government's abilities. So we're not quite sure until the budget gets resolved how this is going to look. And we probably won't know on that till the end of summer. And at that point, the full revaluation quotes you got, even if you'd look to do a full revaluation, probably will need to be updated because they'll be 10, 12 months old. So the appropriate action right now would be to just reject all of the quotes you've gotten, and then we'll wait it out till summer.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
And finally, on behalf of the Finance Committee, I make a motion for approval of checks 31242 through 31296, totaling $202,067.68.
I'll second that. Go ahead.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any questions, comments on the checks? We will have a roll call then.
Appleby?
Aye.
Brunner?
Aye.
Edwards?
Aye.
Najowski?
Aye.
Gunderson?
Aye.
Rasmussen?
Aye.
Carried with 6 ayes.
Thank you. And anything else, Scott, for finance?
No, that will be all. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Works?
On behalf of Public Works Committee, I'd like to make a motion for the addition of the septic
You got it, yep.
receiving station in the wastewater treatment bid.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to recommend the addition of a what he said. Receiving station with wastewater treatment bids. Any questions or comments?
The idea of this would be one of our clarifiers at the treatment plant, right, it's an open water tank. As we do the upgrade on the treatment plant, the intent would be that we abandon that, basically just fill in the tank. This here would be to, instead of just filling that tank and then sort of losing the use of it, it would be to convert it to a septic receiving station, and essentially Hyler, Dave Sewer, a couple of these other companies, they've found that we accept holding tank waste, and we're the lowest charging entity that takes that waste. So essentially for $8.30 for 1,000 gallons of waste, they can get rid of their holding tank waste. It's a new revenue for the sewer utility, and then on top of that, it actually makes our plant run better because a lot of the main waste we get is pretty clean. And in order for our processes to work, they work better when there's not so clean water and it's material that comes in. So the cost with that would be a payback of about 5 or 6 years. And right now, we're only taking a couple of companies that haul here because right now basically they back up to the plant. There's a hose that just sits there out of one of the manholes, and then they put the hose on the back of the truck, they dump it out, and they go and we bill them. This station here would allow us to take in more waste, which would maximize the revenue we could receive. And then it would also control the flow on when this goes into the plant, so that if our plant is running cleaner, our operator can turn it up and take a little bit more to mix that out. And if our plant doesn't need it so much, then we can hold on to it until we need it. So that's what the addition would be, instead of abandoning that tank, that we would put it to use. And again, 5-6 years we should pay back the investment that we would put in, and then from there it would be a new revenue for sewers, which is a good thing.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
One other quick comment. So you've got the two motions. They're 1 and number 2 are both related to the WTP, the treatment plant project. There is a letter of authorization that's in your packet that includes both of those on the letter of authorization for Cedar Corp. So if you'd like to approve both of these recommendations, you'll probably want to then take a motion on that letter of authorization after,
Okay.
if you could.
Okay. All in favor for the addition of the septic receiving station? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
On behalf of Public Works Committee, I'd like to make a motion recommending the addition of an alternative deduct bid for the emergency generator to the wastewater treatment project.
I'll second your motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions on that?
Just a quick comment. As we had put together the treatment plant and designed it in the past, we had put out a concrete pad and hookups for a futurator, or a futurator, that too. The alternate here would be, instead of just installing 2 transformers or 2 power feeds at the treatment plant, that we would just go with 1 feed, and then the alternative would be to have a generator. Now, the difference would be to keep our 2 transformers or our 2 power units, it would be about $20,000 to $30,000. That's an estimate. The generator could be $70,000, but we won't know that until the bids come in, and when the bids come in, we'll then have the option to pick either the generator or the transformer. And either way, we'll still have the generator pad there, so we could still use one if we ever needed it, but this just adds it as an alternate.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
And I guess I'd like to make a motion to approve the letter of authorization for Cedar Corp to bid out those 2 projects.
I'll second your motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any questions on the authorization? All in favor? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
On behalf of the Public Works Committee, I'd like to make a motion to recommend the extension of the limited term employee through June of 2015.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded for the extension of the limited term employee through June 2015. Any questions or comments on that?
A quick comment, you originally had approved a limited term employee through April because the employee that is off on leave, within the week of their event that triggered the leave, they thought maybe through the end of March, maybe April is when they would be off. As time has passed since that event, it looks like it's probably going to be May, maybe June before that employee comes back. So the idea here would be to extend the limited term employee. Same pay rate, it's still $10 an hour, no benefits, and through June we should be covered for the leave, and also through June we would not yet hit the threshold that the limited term employee would have to go on Wisconsin retirement. And if we determine that the limited term would have to be extended because of unforeseen circumstances, anything past June then would hit the 1,200 hours, and then at that point we would have to have that employee enrolled with Wisconsin retirement. The difference is we don't at this point believe that this term is going to hit 1,200 hours. If we knew today that they would go to 1,300, 1,400, from the moment that you know that they're going over, you have to enroll them for retirement, and it ends up, it's about 7-8% that it adds on to the employer and the employee cost too. So at this point, it would be to extend the limited term employee through June, and because it looks like that's how long the leave is going to last. But you will be updated as that develops.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
And on behalf of the Public Works Committee, I'd like to make a motion to recommend the extension of the John Deere lease for 1 more month, and then reevaluate at that time.
So we had, did you make a motion? or
I
we'll
did,
we'll
so
cut
we
in
can
here,
withdraw
so,
it, so we can-
so, the committee met 2 weeks ago, and the day before that, I believe it was like in the single digits, or it was 5 degrees or something like that, and it was kinda snowy, and, the thought with this is for the little John Deere that's got the broom on the front and the snow blower. Originally, we had leased it, and the lease runs through the end of March. And the thought here was, at the end of the lease, we'll have 3 options. Either we're done with it, we could turn it in. We could look at extending the lease, and the extension is $750 a month for as many months as you want to go. Or you could look into purchasing the unit, and then for the amount of money that you spent on your lease, you would get a full credit towards the purchase price. And the thought back 2 weeks ago was, well, we were still in the middle of winter, and because the lease ends at the end of March, I had talked about, well, I don't know that we're ready to say that we want to buy it, and I don't know that we're ready to say that winter's done and we can turn it in. But when it's 60-some degrees, this is a tough one, and it's, again, $750 a month to extend it. It's likely that we probably don't need it, but I don't know at the council here if the reason it's here now is because of the timing with your meetings and when the lease ends. And in 2 weeks, if it's winter again, I'm sure we'll wish that we had it, but if it's also 70 degrees, it'll look silly. So I did talk to Nick as the chair of Public Works, and I said, well, it's pretty warm out, and either you could remove that recommendation and then we turn in the tractor, or if you wanted to make a motion that left it up to us, that in 2 weeks, when it's at the end of the lease, we could consult with you or whatever, and then if it's winter, well, then maybe we'd need it, and if it's not, obviously we wouldn't, but it's up to you guys. It's worked out very well. It's just an item that, for maybe $18,000 to $20,000, I don't know that we're ready to purchase it, because I don't know what we would put it to use for in the summer yet. You can put a mower on it, but we have mowers, and it did what it needed to do this winter, and it's been well. It's just that it was a goofy winter, and it still is, so.
Well, we know that if it snows in 2 or 3 weeks, it's not.
It's gonna melt.
It's gonna
Yeah,
melt.
I mean, it's
Right.
relatively short term. So.
Yeah, and we have it for
Yeah.
2 more weeks no matter what, so.
Right.
I'm good either way, whatever way you guys would want to go with that.
So I'd prefer just withdraw it. We don't really need it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Do you want to make a motion then to turn the tractor in at the end of the lease? At the end of the current lease? You could do
Yeah.
that then you got a record on?
Yeah, I think.
Should be good.
We need to have to. So I'll make a motion that we return the John Deere at the end of the lease.
Second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to return to John Deere on the lease agreement at the end of March. Any other questions or comments?
You might want to just add to the motion, it's the John Deere 1025R
Oh, yeah.
as opposed to the 6125R, the bigger one that we've got.
Boy.
1025.
Yeah, so it's like 1025 and then the letter R.
Okay. Any other questions or comments in regarding the tractor lease? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
I have nothing else for council.
Okay, thank you. Police, fire, and ambulance.
No action for council.
Okay. Public health and relief.
No action for council.
I see you do have a meeting scheduled for March 24th,
Yep.
5:30. Okay. Recreation committee.
I'd like to recommend approval of participation in WPRA summer ticket program for 2015.
Second motion.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to participate in the WPRA summer ticket program for 2015. Any questions or comments?
Just a quick comment. Again, that's the discounted program that's got tickets for WPRA members. Basically, it's park and recreation departments. There are a number of, Great America, the Dells, a lot of long-standing attractions that are on there. They did take off the Milwaukee Public Museum, and then they added Old World Wisconsin this year. But on every ticket we sell, we do get to keep 75 cents, and then again, everyone that comes in and buys them through the city is able to save some money. It's like $20-some on Great America. The more expensive the tickets are, the more the discount really is. So We don't have to pay for the tickets up front. We just order as many as we think we can, as many attractions as we can sell. We have to get 50 minimum. And then at the end of the summer, whatever we sell, we do turn in the unsold tickets, and we turn in the revenue minus the 75 cents a ticket that we get to keep. So it's really kind of a no risk, except you're sitting on the money, but we sit on a lot of money at the city. And I don't mean that, I mean that in that we do a lot of business with money. So, sorry, it's Monday. But yeah, it's a good program, and it's something that we could say that we offer, and it's really not a lot of work on our end, but it's an offering. So.
Is it used?
Yeah, we sold, I believe it was 21 tickets last summer, and really, we didn't do a whole lot of advertising with it. So out of the 21, our revenue was $15.75, but out of the tickets we sold, people had saved about $150, so
Okay.
it's a good thing. Now, we did put it on the survey this last year, and if everyone who marked down an attraction on the survey would buy a ticket, we would sell 500, 600 tickets, so that would be a pretty decent revenue, but
Well, and last year it got rolled out kind of late, didn't it?
no, it was still about April, May, but it was something that we never did before, and we didn't
So-
really want to tell people we were in it because we didn't have the tickets yet, and then the window we had was like May through September, so. But on the survey, a lot of people had said, in general, most of the attractions they would buy tickets for if they could, so there's potentially a market there.
And
So.
weren't we saying that somehow to relay the savings from last year to, to promote it, to let people know
Yeah.
that there was a significant savings for such a little volume and.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments on the WPRA summer ticket program? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I'd also like to make a motion to recommend approval of swim lake fees rate for 2015.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the swim lake fees rate for 2015. Any questions, comments, or concerns on that?
Just a quick comment, we're proposing to keep the fees the same again. It's been every year I've been here that we've kept them the same, and a couple years before that got even too, so.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Anything else, Bruce?
No,
No.
that's it, thank you.
Thank you. Public property and purchase?
No action for council.
Okay. Planning Commission, there's no action. New business. Review the application for street use permit for Weyauwega's tractor pull from May 30th, 2015.
I'll make a motion to approve the application for street use permit for Weyauwega tractor pull for May 30th, 2015.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any comments, questions, or concerns on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
At this point, do
I
you want to
have-
go to the, closed session with Attorney Kelly
We
for the
could-
railroad?
You know, we could have probably made it pretty close to that if somebody would be.
It's up- Yeah. I mean, if you want to run through it real quick, that should be fine too.
Okay, well, it depends. Number 9, it depends on how. I have nothing,
That's the mayor's report, oh.
so I will move on to the administrator.
Okay, I just have a couple quick things, and now I'm done.
Okay?
Wow.
No, we do have, just real quick, we had the auditors in basically all week last week, scoping out fiscal year 2014, so that's a lot of time that you spend reviewing the year that you just went through. Things went pretty good, and they'll be back again when they present, when the audit is finished. They come to us to do the field work, and then they take those findings to their office, and then they'll come back to you guys. The only other thing I'll add, there is the election coming up. It's Tuesday, April 7th. And then there is also on April, I believe it's 15th and 16th, is the annual policyholders meeting with the League of Wisconsin Municipalities Mutual Insurance, which is what we're a member of. We'll probably want to talk about who would want to go to that. They do provide free lodging, free meals, and free admission to one representative from each policy holder, and then you can add on more people to go. I went last year, it was really, really good. Talked a lot about liability, which was a hot topic. Well, it's always a hot topic, but especially for us because we were just non-renewed and then changed to the league. But we'll probably want to talk about that because it's a very good program, and it's a little bit different because there's vendors there, but they're vendors that you already have. You already bought whatever you're getting from them, so it's a little bit different than them trying to sell you, which is it's a good thing too. Other than that, that's all I got for now.
Okay. Police report?
As of Monday night of the police committee meeting, we've received 393 calls for service. Traffic accidents were up, but January, February, that's what you get. Probably the most compelling event was the individual who hit our night squad in the Presto parking lot, was detained in DC Everest, and he is in custody and being investigated for numerous burglaries in many, many counties and jurisdictions. So we will pass along the cost of the damage he did to the car to him. And the other thing I'll just add is, I don't know if it was on the 9th or the Friday before that, Patrick was nice enough to put the Wisconsin Law Enforcement Accreditation Group's Core Standards Verification Program on the Google Drive. Brandon and I went down last Wednesday to Middleton to meet with that group and tell them that our intention is to see this thing through. It's not going to be easy. Some of it pertains to us, some doesn't, but the policies and procedures that they think are the biggest liability are the ones that we're going to address. And those are primarily not operational, they're liabilities with harassment in the workplace and some things that, as I've gone through, I see we don't have very detailed policies on that we need to tweak up. So Mr. Calney's been advised that we'll be having some contact with them, and if you get some time, have a read. I think it's about 40 pages long. And after the April 27th meeting, Brandon and I are going to, we should be able to get started on it, and I'll inform you of our progress. That's all I have.
Right, thank you. Can we set the meetings after then?
Sure.
And then, there was one thing that when you mentioned, Pat, about the auditors. I don't know, I think I did see something where the finance committee is looking at updating our
Financial software.
financial software. I did have a meeting with, Cassie was the girl from the auditor place, and that was one of their concerns. I did ask her that, to have Mike Linsmeyer, when he came here to talk to the council, to maybe have 3-4 recommendations of something that they work with that could tell us, they work with them, so tell us what's a good one, what's not real good, and she said that she would pass on the information because there's, it is holding us back, and it's making it harder for them when they do the audit. So, all right, then next we will move on to setting calendar. We'll do that at the end. Any other such matters authorized by law? Okay, then I will ask for a motion then to go into closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session in pursuit, do you need me to read that?
Either you or Mike.
If you want to read, if you want to read it, then I don't have to.
Okay. Pursuant to 19.85, 1G, Wisconsin Stats, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. The reason for the closed session is to discuss ordinances regarding the railroad. The council may choose to reconvene an open session at the completion of the closed session in order to take action on items from the closed session. You want me to read number 14 too?
Yep.
Okay. Closed session also pursuant to 19.851C Wisconsin statutes, consideration of employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any city employee who is subject to the jurisdiction of, or authority of the council. The reason for the closed session is to discuss department head goals for 2015. The council may choose to reconvene an open session at the completion of the closed session in order to take action on items from the closed session.
I'll second it, as long as you read it.
And I'll just make a quick note, we will come out into open to set the meeting calendar, but it won't be to take action on any of the closed session items, so.
Okay,
And if that'll be, the open session again will be added on to the end of the tape and put on online, so.
Okay.
all right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments in regards to what you heard? Then we'll have a roll call.
Appleby,
Aye.
Gunderson,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Edwards,
Aye.
Najowski.
Aye.
Time
Okay.
to-
7:09.
09.
Okay, we're back in open session, and now we will set our committee meetings for next month.
So we've got, the council meetings, the council meeting will be Tuesday, April 21st at 6:30. It will be the meeting of this council. After that, there will be the reorganizational meeting. New officers or new officials sworn in, committees selected, all that stuff. The finance, then, if we keep it on the first Monday, we've got April 6th at 6 PM.
Okay.
Public Works, we keep that the second Monday, we have April 13th at 6 PM.
Yep. That's right.
Okay, and then from there, we've got police, fire, and ambulance. Got a note, usually we had set the first Tuesday of the month. If that's the case, that I believe would be election day,
April 7th.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's probably not the best day to have it, is it, or doesn't it matter?
Probably, well, I think we met that first year I was here, we met on election night, but,
Doesn't really matter, does it?
We can
Election's not
schedule it
down
for
here
that
and-
because the new elected don't get sworn in until the 23rd or so.
We have other meetings before then too.
right,
Before
well,
that.
it depends on whether you want me there or not, because usually at the polls, being
Oh,
that
that's right.
one of my little
He's
hyphenated
working
jobs
there.
is clerk,
We don't.
I'd be down that way at 8.
14th?
We can do the 7th, as long as it works for everybody else. I mean,
Yeah, let's just keep it on the 7th,
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Okay,
You can break away.
yeah, that should be fine. The ordinance committee, right now we have it set for next Tuesday, March 24th.
Mm-hmm.
You wanna keep that? Anything at that committee will go to the April meeting, so we should be good there. Recreation meeting. We really haven't met, I think we've met just a couple times, we haven't had a set date, but,
I thought we had a set for all of them.
well, we
We
have,
actually-
right now, it's one of the Tuesdays that we've got set down, but I think we've just kinda gone on.
The police, on the 7th, has that got much volume on the agenda? Okay.
It's
I'm
just a
just-
couple of weeks from now, I'm anticipating.
I'm just
it'll be very
wondering if we
short.
could back-to-back those.
Yeah, sure.
If- I don't know who's all on those, I mean, I do, but if that would work for someone else.
The two people are you on the recreation committee? I'm trying to think, no, it's
No,
Shaney,
it's
Keith,
Shaney,
and
Keith and
Bruce, so Bruce would be the duplicate with the police. On my end, if it's recreation, I'd prefer that it would be before police, because
Oh.
anything after is then bumping up with the election stuff with me
That's
then.
true, yeah.
But there shouldn't be a whole lot though.
5:30,
We could, yeah.
let's do that.
Okay. Is that good?
You gotta do a public property.
Public property, we had it scheduled for tonight. That was with the intent that the motion from the last month's meeting to negotiate the purchase of property next to the treatment plant.
Yeah.
We have an agreement, tentative agreement, we're just waiting on the official paperwork to come back and forth, so. It wasn't ready for tonight, that's why we didn't have public property tonight, but it will be ready, we're thinking in the next couple weeks, so maybe we play it by ear on that.
It shouldn't take but a couple minutes, so.
Yeah, yep. So if that's okay, I can get back in touch with you guys on it. Right now, we're just waiting on signed paperwork to come back and then we'll,
Yeah, because if she got that, we could do it on the 13th, real quick before Public Works.
Yeah.
the hope would be that, yeah, it's all good to go and we're all good
Right,
by.
I'm just saying
by
if
then.
that's, you know,
That works.
Have a pseudo.
Wait. That does not work for me, just kidding. I would be in Beaver Dam.
Well, I guess we can just play it by ear though, because if that's the only thing, I mean, you're already caught up on what's going on with that.
Yeah.
so.
Right.
I'm just, because we're gonna be here for Public Works,
Yeah,
so I
we're
was
gonna
just
be
thinking
here
it would
anyway,
be.
so we still got
But,
enough
yeah.
to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, well, I'll be in touch with you on that, and then for plan commission, I don't have anything pending right now, waiting for the plan commission, so you wanna play that by ear too? There will be some permits coming up, signed permits, and then a couple potential site plans too, but nothing's been turned in right now, so I don't anticipate it's going to be before the end of this month.
Okay. Okay. That takes care of all the meetings. Any other? And I ask for a motion then to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at
7:43.
that time.
Second?
I'll second that.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.